This was a pretty cool evening. We were about 5 degrees or so, and we're running low on our firewood for our 2 fireplaces that we use. So I wanted to get out there and go ahead and replace those 2 IBC totes that we generally refill when we need to refill our firewood. I stopped the video here because I've got some issues coming up, and I wanted to let you guys know how easy it is to make these kinds of mistakes. I made 2 mistakes very quickly together that could have been fairly major. Thank goodness I didn't have issues with either. This particular issue was with the heater block. I left the heater block on the engine, plugged in, backed out of the shed area there. Didn't even notice it. Up to this point, I hadn't noticed. So we're going to go ahead and hook up the forks so that I can pull the empty IBC totes and replace them with filled IBC totes that we can pull the firewood from. Where I can see what's going on. Try to pick that up again. Let's get those ropes off. I have some ropes on there. Let's see if I can get that on there now. It's about 6 degrees outside. See if I got that. I do. Good. Let's go out and lock it down. Yep, that's a pallet with 4 wheels attached on the bottom of it that I set the IBC tote filled with wood on so that I can move that around a little bit. It's pretty dark. Gets dark around 4:30 or so. This was about 6:30 p.m. when I started this. Everything's pretty much ice covered and snow covered here, so I'm on snow, but underneath the snow is a couple of inches of ice. I'll pick up from the back side here. These last set of totes in. I think this is on. went through these last set of totes in about a week. So we went through 2 totes in a week. Today is Monday. No, today is Friday. So it's been since last Sunday or Saturday. So we are definitely going through some material here. That's okay. That's what it's for. It's made to go through. So disconnecting the tarps is relatively straightforward. I use rubber stretch with hooks. Peel that tarp back. There was a lot of ice and a lot of snow on that. Probably about a foot, 3 inches or 4 inches of ice and about 8 or so, maybe 10 inches of snow. And at this point, I was having trouble lifting the IBC tote out of that area. One, it was frozen in mud that was there when I set it in place. 2, the weight of the ice and the snow on top of half of that unit, because I couldn't lift it off myself. I just had to lift it up with the FEL to try to get it out of there. But at a couple of points in the use of the tractor over the last couple of years, I've wondered if I bought too big. I don't think so. I was barely able to get that out of there. We'll see how things go the rest of the way in here. This is an 805 loader. It carries up to 1,600 pounds. That depends again on how far out you are. So if I look at that crate is weighing 1,300 pounds, maybe. I kind of doubt it's that much. Then you're probably looking at about 800 pounds of lift force required at the connection point. The further out and further up you go, the less capability you have of lifting, so it increases because you're stepping out further from that knuckle and you're moving up also. I'm learning how to use the finer adjustments on a couple of the implements, the bucket and the pallet forks, and a little bit with the grapple too. I'm finding that although I don't have very much experience, 540 hours is some time, but I'm just starting to gain enough experience to move stuff like this around without breaking it. I've got to spin that basically around so I can get it up onto the upper porch and have the opening of that IBC tote available for me on the door side. You'll see when we get there. I'm always extremely cautious here of how this tractor is going to handle on this ice and snow. And I know when you get a load on those tires that anything can happen, and it can happen very quickly. So I have to be careful that I'm not moving things around on anything other than a level surface when there's ice and snow. While I'm spinning here and moving this around to the right angle, you can see just at the front of the tote on the ground, there's a little black line kind of curled up there. That's an extension cord that I use when I need to get electricity out to the shed. I can't see that there from the tractor, but it's there. You can see it from this angle. So I do push that up over there. I don't see it. So right there, I'm on top of it. I'm on top of the cord, and depending on how I pick it up is going to determine the life of that cord. So let's see what happens here. Unless it's already torn. You can see the windows are frosted up there. It's because I have the heat on and not the air conditioner. So without the air conditioner, the moisture that is in the cab will blow around. And it'll stick to the windows, it'll freeze, and create that fog. See how that looks. Pretty good. Let's set her down. And now let's see if we can get out of here without pulling that off. Come in at a different angle so I can push that IBC tote a little closer and underneath the porch a little bit. These are the kind of very fine movements that I'm just getting used to managing here. Now there's an extension cord out here running across the ground, And you can't have your eyes on everything at once, but let me tell you, I pushed that tote right over the top of that extension cord. I could have cut it. I don't know if I cut it. I don't think I did. I didn't cut it, but I could have very, very easily. I'm not thinking how far I had to push that up the hill to get it to work there, but I got to tell you, anything can happen. Anything. And coming here in just a second, I'm going to realize something else that I did here. And I notice it right here. I see a cord. As is typical, you can't think of everything, right? So I left the heater on, backed the tractor out without even thinking, and I don't know if I ripped my heater out. Heater came unplugged from the extension cord, but I've run over this extension cord twice. But I pulled it right out of there. Isn't that something? You know, I'm beside myself. I just wish, I don't know, is there something wrong with me? Sometimes I think that. There's just so much going on. And it's never forgiving. This is not forgiving stuff. You do something wrong, I could have cut that cord, electrified the freaking tractor. And as soon as I stepped out, if that cord was still plugged in, I don't know. Amazing stuff. It's amazing. So I've made a lot of these types of mistakes that you don't see coming, you can't anticipate them. And they're caused from sometimes forgetfulness, maybe not being aware of your environment. But in the work that I used to do, you know, being on ladders, up high, working on stuff, running cables, I mean, I would always prepare for the unpredictable. And it's pretty crazy that I'm going through this all over again with this tractor. I'll set these totes down and then come back here in the early spring and empty the wood that's in the shed out into the totes and restack those totes right where I'm removing them from now. That'll clean up the wood storage area, give me access to do the repairs to the floor of that I couldn't finish in the fall because I preloaded that shed without affixing some supports underneath the center beam in that shed, which kind of gave way. So I'll be able to get that. Again, it's probably -7. It's supposed to get down to -15 or 20 tonight. So it's pretty chilly out there right now. And there's a lot of snow in that tarp. I'm just trying to pull it, moving around. I just fell there, as you can see. Didn't get hurt, but anything can happen. Let's see what I can do. Because it's getting cold out here. Oh yeah. This one also sticks a little bit. You'll see me right there with a little bit of trouble, but I break it loose out of the wood, and because there's no snow on top of it, and pull it right out of there and I'm good to go. I would say that the same season, the same fall that I picked up the tractor in the summer, and that fall I pulled an 850-gallon tank out of the ground that was used for storage. I believe it was water. We didn't even know it was there. There were a couple of valves sticking up. I grabbed a hold of the valves and yanked them with the tractor, ripped them out of the tank. So I excavated that tank out of there and pulled the tank up out of the ground. Again, I don't think with the 4801, with the 2501, anything like that, I would have been able to get that tank. It was a good 10 feet long, 4 feet in diameter or more, and it was heavy steel. It wasn't light stuff. So as far as size, did I go too big? I don't think so. From the surprises I've had, the work that I've done, don't think so. Just maneuvering here to try to get as much space so I can turn and get into the front porch with this additional IBC tote. I've got to get up there and turn real tight, so I need to get close to that shed sometimes with the back end of the tractor. This whole area that you see from where the tractor is to the slant just below the flag, that used to be about 2.5 feet higher, and it basically funneled all the water from the driveway right into the house, which wasn't good. So I've gone ahead and leveled that all out with this tractor, using the bucket and the backhoe to loosen things up, and all of that dirt that we removed, we placed into the backyard, which is going to be the level area where we build our barn. Again, I can't imagine what somebody with 25 or 30 years of experience on one of these things could do. If it's taking me, 500 hours and almost 2 years to kind of get this down, I can't imagine the skill set of somebody with 25 or 30 years. And again, I'm only working on one piece of equipment. Some of these equipment operators work on 4 or 5 or 6 different types of equipment. So that's just amazing to me. Amazing. So when the ground level here was about 2.5 feet higher, everything was sloped towards the door. So I would use that shed in the back that you can see there, and that was on level ground at that point in time. And I would fill up a cart, basically a 2-wheel cart, and I would fill it with wood and drag it down that hillside and into the front yard. That was pretty overbearing and tough sometimes. I'd have to shovel it first, and there's ice, and it was slanted, so things would tip over. Just not good. I mean, I don't know how many times I dumped it. I could have been hurt. I don't have to do that anymore, thank goodness. Closer to the shed area. Swinging that arm in and to the left side of the tractor is going to give me a lot of room now to maneuver around there, make this turn. It's not too tight here. I have about maybe 10 inches on each side of this tote to get in there. So I kind of cut it close to the right, the left as you see it, but to my right. I kind of cut it close to there. It's closer to the door, easier to grab the wood. And I've got to concentrate. Creating this eye-hand coordination added to the way that the FEL and those hydraulic controls function in relationship to the tractor and the load is just an amazing thing. And to harness all of that, into your arm and eye coordination, your hand and eye and your wrist, it's just amazing to me how we can do that. Hitting that gas just a little bit too much while you're moving something with those forks. Half the load is on the ground, half is on the forks. You're trying to spin it, things like that. You hit that gas just a little bit too much, and it'll just send whatever you've got flying, 2 or 3 or 4 inches, maybe a foot. I could take out that beam. So everything is really precise here. Very slow movements, very careful movements. Yeah, I don't know how I did that. How I left that here plugged in. Without thinking. As if it didn't matter. So one of the things that concerns me about the 3560 minor, but the defrost switch turns off by itself after like 8 minutes or 10 minutes or something like that. And as you can see there, I don't have the heat blasting down at the windows, and that's why you have all that fog on the windows. Is probably some of it's frozen. But I need to turn those on every 10 minutes in order to keep the windows clear in the back. The ones in the front are cleared from the exhaust vents in the ceiling. I've got the car, or one of the trucks up in the driveway to help give me some light, so it's just idling there until I get this put away. So that took about, 30 minutes or so, maybe 45 minutes to pull those 2 totes up, and those will last a week. But previous to having the tractor and the tote system, I was bringing wood in every other day or every day sometimes, and then taking the risk of slipping and falling on the ice and getting hurt. So it's a totally different world today. Very nice. Shut that off. Just a moment.
so that I can get
Just going to plug that block heater back in, make sure it works okay, there aren't any sparks, and I'm good to go for the next time I use the tractor then. I'd leave it plugged in, at least right now, for these minus 15, minus 20 degree nights. I'm not sure when I'm going to have to use a tractor for snow or whatever, so I'm not sure how much it burns. I don't think it hurts to keep it plugged in, but during this cold weather I'm doing that. Thanks for watching the channel today.